We have another reader. It's number 4 in Act 1 of Story Slam. 3 words. Here we go. Paradise. Dickinson. Graffiti. Put your hands together for Mr. Tom Blomain.
Well, thanks. Warning signs, Thought about that theme, and I guess there were quite a few along the way. Thanks. So I went back into the gallery of my misspent youth and came up with one, and a drum roll, and my electronic cigar. I've been trying to cut down lately, and it seems to help. So, the first one in a long series, I guess, of stories. This one I will call the Chianti story. And long before Hannibal Lecter ever mentioned Chianti in a movie, I found out how evil Chianti can be. So it was the winter, I was 13, just about turning 14. And in those days, they used to have a big dance Friday nights at the Clark Summit Methodist Church, and my friends and I would often go. It was a big deal. And this particular night, very cold, snow-covered, and the dance was about 3 miles from my house. I had persuaded my one sister's boyfriend, I guess at the time, to get some alcohol for me and my friends. Turned out to be a gallon of Chianti. And I didn't know, but so it was a nice big jug, and my friend Richie and I went to a little alcove in the doorway at Our Lady of Peace School, and got in there out of the wind. I was near my house, and it was howling wind. It was very cold, so we could light our cigarettes there, which I stole, Camel non-filters from my parents. So we get in there, and we were lighting the cigarettes, smoking them, and we thought we'd have a leisurely drink. It was too cold, so we handed this thing back and forth. And probably drank it in like 20 minutes or so. And wine, those of you who know, wine is like a cumulative sort of effect. We're drinking and I'm going, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything. So until we actually finished it and tossed the bottle aside, I didn't feel anything. I took about 2 steps into the snow, bam. So, and Rich, for some reason, didn't have the same effect really on him as it did me, but we helped each other, shouldered our way from there down the long hill into Clark Summit. And Clark Summit in those days was not as trafficked as it is today. It was much less traffic, much fewer cars. So we get to the light there at the bottom of Highland Avenue, and I walk right in front of like the one car that happens to be going by. Guy slams on the brakes, irate, he gets out, he throws me into an icy puddle on the curbside, and Rich is, so he helps me up, and now I'm soaked. And we're still on our way to the dance, though. We're gonna get to that dance, and now it's about, 1.5 miles more to get there, trudging through the snow. Well, we made it to what is now Clark Summit Elementary School. Then it was the junior high school where we went to school. And we had to find another recessed doorway to plant ourselves, and that's what we did, and that's where the vomiting and I peed my pants. This is supposed to be an embarrassing story of truth, right, from your awful youth you misspent. So that's what happened. We're in the recessed doorway and very sick, very terrible. And 2 girls in our class come by, and they lived in that neighborhood, and they find us there, and they run back to their houses and get a thermos of scalding coffee, thinking they're going to Florence Nightingale me out of this. So I'm, laying down there, and the one cradles my head, and stunned scalding coffee, which felt pretty good because it was really cold out. And scalding coffee all over. And we're there for a little while longer. I don't know if the girls took off when they saw the police car or if they had left. But naturally, the Clarksville police arrive at this time. And Rich, my friend, as I said, was a little bit better than I am. So he communicated with the police officers while I stumble around, vomiting, crawling on my hands and knees. And I can't even remember what he might have said to them, but probably something like, going down there. So, and before cell phones, long before cell phones, but somehow they contacted Rich's parents and mine, and Rich's father came to get him, and I just remember being held up against the wall by a cop like this, like lifted up, and held against the wall by my father. And for some reason at our house, maybe it was a holiday, I don't really remember, but my one sister and her husband and my one great aunt was at the house for the weekend. So my father and brother-in-law show up and take me from the police and put me in the car and take me home. Carry me up the steps like a wet doll, covered with vomit, coffee, ice, urine. Really bad. This is for you kids. Don't do this. Don't try this at home. This is warning signs, I'm telling you. So anyway, they actually did. They had to carry me, and I was ranting, I guess, babbling. And there's my super Christian great aunt at the door, and with the rosary. Yeah, really. And my mother, this is so bad. I knew this would happen. Like, my parents both didn't drink, right? We had a full bar downstairs. So, okay, they take me up and they just threw me in bed, right in the clothes and everything. And I slept, I think, for like 14 hours. And so whenever I came to, I wake up and I'm like this. And I go, out of my bedroom. And I go into the bathroom, still sick as can be, awful. My whole room, it was terrible. Go in and I get cleaned up and I put on a robe and I go out into the kitchen where everybody's sitting uncharacteristically silent. Totally everybody's there and they're eating, which made me oh God, no. So I go out into the kitchen and they all stop and look. I'm standing there, my father, very, really funny guy, and always my wingman, he was great. He looks up and he slays the elephant that walked into the room and he said, "So, did you have a good time last night?" And you want something to eat? So I had to go out of the room, but back into my room for like the next 2 days. I was sick for 2 days, and I couldn't eat for like 3 or 4 days longer. And I'll tell you, for 30 years, I couldn't even be in the same room with Chianti. So that's the warning signs. Thanks, folks.